Welcome to Hope is Speaking. I speak on motivational, inspirational content that we all go through. My message today and this video is authentic to me. Over the holidays, I was with my parents and I was with my father, and on the 28th of December, passed away. I am currently in grief, in every stage of grief. And the focus of this video are the 5 things that I've learned from just this short time in grief. Because grief is lifelong, it doesn't leave. Navigating grief, lessons learned, and personal growth. We all share this. There will always be someone who will die that's close to us. This is my video to bridge that gap through this experience of grief and what I have learned. Hopefully this will help you. This in itself is helping me. It's a supportive, open discussion about what I have learned in my cycle of grief. First, accepting support. When my father passed away, I was in shock. I was numb. I didn't cry. I just sat up all night and felt everything. One thing that I felt was the resistance to let others know what was happening in my life. It wasn't until about 3 days after where I knew that those who are around me, my friends, my family, my support system, would be there for support. And that's what they're there for. And so when I typed these text messages alerting my friends of the passing of my father, what I received was an outpouring of support. What I received was an outpouring of, how can I help? Would you like an ear to listen? Do you need food? What I received is exactly what I needed. But in that time, there was resistance. There was resistance within me because I felt that that weakness is something that I didn't want to show. And what I found is we do not ask for help because we are weak. We ask for help to remain strong. And I have been enlightened by my friends who have supported me and surrounded me in this time, constantly checking up on me, sending messages and asking if I'm okay, if there's anything they could do, and allowing me to lean on them in this time. The lesson I learned here is to accept support unconditionally. There are people around us that are wanting to help. They want to be a part of our safeguard. They want to be that person to lean on. They want to be the person to hear what you have to say, or if you just need to cry. And we all have those people around us. Utilize them without fear. Release that need to be everything, because you are everything, and the support of others allows us to grow into that new space, especially in grief. What I've also learned is the judgment that I had on myself. Do not judge yourself for reaching out. You have support. And I found within myself, I would question, oh, I reached out to this person yesterday, or I reached out to this person earlier in this day. I don't want to be a burden, be too much, just release on them without them knowing where to put everything that I'm sharing. And here is the lesson. It is okay for you to depend on someone in this time of grief. It is okay to depend on more than one person just to be an ear to listen to. And it's also okay within you to give yourself this ability to say, I can do this. They are here. I will not judge myself. I will not judge the tears that a friend sees or hears, because this is a part of this healing process. So in this lesson of accepting support unconditionally, truly, this is that time to sink into the space where you can lean on others and others want you to lean on them. They want you to lean on them. So in this time of my father's passing, I'm strengthened by that because I don't have to do this myself. It could be friends, it could be family members, it could be your pet, and they're there to support you. If they don't want to, they'll let you know. However, don't count yourself out. It's a difficult time. It's tough. I know how tough it is. I'm experiencing it in real time. And the beauty of our system around us, the beauty of the people around us is they are there to keep us strong, and they are also there when we feel weak. Utilize the support that's around you without fear and accept that as your human superpower. There are others around you that want to help. Discovering inner resilience. There are times where it's very tough. I have to shift my thoughts or allow those thoughts to come, feel them, and release. It was difficult, and I thought, I didn't have anyone. I don't know how I'm going to get through this. I feel alone. And what I learned in that time is I developed and grew a strength of a support system within myself that allowed me to say, wow, I do have everything I need in those moments. It's not so bad that everything will end. I can self-soothe myself. I can comfort myself. I can allow those thoughts to come and I can release them. I don't have to grasp onto it. I can release those tears. And I've learned that this resilience within myself has been strengthened in this time of grief, in this time of my father dying. In this time, I found I have so much support. I have the support within me and outside of me. Through discovering my inner resilience, I saw that I am really strong, and I had to get to that moment to understand my strength. And the strength isn't pushing through it. The strength is just crying and allowing those tears to flow. The strength is also thinking of those great times or thinking of the legacy that I now live in. You know, resilience comes in many forms, and the biggest form is I'm okay. I'm okay. I found that going through grief and in death, especially a death of a parent, that can be difficult for others to process. I completely understand that. And death within Western society isn't spoken about. There's no manual to it. So there are times where others won't know how to respond. That's okay. Do not take it personally. There will be others that will be able to hold a space for you and release it if they can't. It is not an obligation of a friend or family member to sit through the discomfort of hearing your grief, simply because your grief may bring up something in them. It may bring up a loss or a death that they have yet to recover from, and I understand that. Discovering my resilience, my inner resilience, means that I am indestructible. There are tears, there are uncomfortable times. It is tough, and I will get through it. The reality is people do want us to go on. They do not want us to stay in that uncomfortable space. And the beauty of grief is to see how resilient you are. We are more resilient than we know, and the growth is in the resilience. So the second lesson I've learned is discovering my inner resilience and the beauty and the comfort that it has brought to me. I shared how initially when I received the news that my father had died, I was numb. And because I've had therapy and I'm in touch with myself, I knew that I have to give myself even more in this time. Meaning the next day I knew I need movement. I will walk. I will move my body. I will be in the sun. I am giving myself extra self-care. Eating junk food will not aid. This is that time where I have to give even more to myself. This is that time where I dove into cold plunging and cold therapy because I knew the depths of the despair and the sadness that I would fear with my father's death. And this isn't the route that everyone will take, ensuring that they move their body, or cold water therapy, or journaling. And for me, it is. And what I found in this is there is no right or wrong way to grieve. There's a beauty in being able to gather myself, being able to say, this is tough. This is beautiful that I had so many years with this person. All of the knowledge I gained, to all of the wisdom I know because of my father. And that's a comforting thought that helps me cradle that grief, cradle that softness. I would encourage you to find what you need to cradle you. If it's extra self-care, if it's reflecting on what you were given by this person, if it was the lessons that they taught you, if it was how they were resilient, whatever it is, there's no wrong or right way to grieve. It doesn't have to be tears 24 hours a day for a year at a time, or it could be. It shows up for you is how it is for you. You do not need to judge it. This process is an individual process. The point is to feel it, let it go, and grow into what this will teach you. Lesson 4. Finding and using tools for healing. Since my father's death, I have congratulated myself on my tools. We don't always have the tools we need. During this time of grief, I found it comes in waves and it comes in stages. And there's stages where it is heavier than others. And what I found to be extremely helpful is journaling. And through finding and using tools through healing, this is where journaling is my superpower. The tools that I have used during my grieving my father's death are journaling, daily movement, daily sunshine if applicable, nutrition. This is when I want to eat. There's times where I don't want to eat, and I allow that. I don't force myself to eat. However, I'm mindful of what I'm consuming. I'm not just consuming foods that won't add to my body at this time. I'm eating whole nutritious foods. I'm juicing. I'm eating fresh fruits and vegetables. I'm reaching for fresh oranges instead of candy. This allows my body to gain those nutrients in this time. Second thing is movement. I ensure that I go outside and move my body, even if it's a 10-minute walk. Ideally, I walk 3 to 4 miles every day. It clears my mind. If I want to cry during the walk, I cry during the walk. This is giving my body what it needs in this difficult time. And for you, it may be different. It may just be the fact that you get out of the bed and walk to the fridge and get some water. Movement is so powerful. It's so powerful, and I have found that it gives me something to move my body. It gives me something to eat nutritious foods. It gives me something to do my third thing, cold water therapy. I'm currently at my parents' house who have a pool. I do not have a thermometer, and it's cold. It's getting into the high 30s at night, so the pool is cold. And I knew at this time, I'm mourning the death of my father. Extreme measures will need to be taken. I will do a cold plunge and stay in the water for 1 to 2 minutes. And it's done wonders for my clarity and for everything that I'm processing. I'm processing grief. It's quite a bit to process, and I can do it with journaling, with daily movement, with being particular about what I'm feeding my body, with cold plunging and cold water therapy, with being disciplined in what I watch. I like to watch funny things. I love Curb Your Enthusiasm. I've been watching the whole series numerous times because it feels good. It's my comfort show. And finally, showering every day, because it can get dark. There can be days where you won't want to move from your bed for weeks. The ability to get up and clean your body, you always feel better after a shower. You always feel better after a shower. There's something about that cleansing of oneself that transforms us. In this time of grief, finding and using my tools for healing have been journaling, my nutrition, knowing what I'm eating whole foods, juicing, cooking good foods, and accepting food delivery. That is great. A lot of people have been delivering food. Cold plunging, daily movement, and cleansing oneself. These are the tools I have been using during the time of grief with my father's death that have allowed me to navigate this grief. We have more tools. We are so resourceful. It's only when we allow ourselves to get quiet and dig into that, because it hurts. I know it's a longing, it's a void, and fill it with the tools that will continue to grow us in every way. Embracing change and growth. In my father's death, I realized that the man that brought me into this world is no longer here. And there's a sadness in that, and there's a beauty in that. There's a beauty of, I am truly in my strength in this world. And the beauty of that is, I, in this year, have accomplished many things, had a beautiful 40th birthday, and with the death of my father, it feels like an extra strength for me because I'm ready to conquer life. Even in this death, I feel reborn. That's how I embrace change and growth. Grief is such a powerful catalyst for change and transformation within ourselves, because we are forever changed. We are no longer that person. And I've learned in grief, I'm also grieving the loss of my former self. I know I'm an adult, but now I feel like a grown-up. I feel prepared. I feel ready. And I've used this time of grief to be that catalyst for this new person that is me. I encourage everyone who watches this to use this grief as a catalyst for your change. Because not only are you grieving the loss of that person, you're grieving the loss of yourself, a former version of yourself. And I find there's a beauty in that, because life is transformation, life is change. And within that darkness and that tough space of grief, which can be uncomfortable, there's a light that shows us who we are now and who we can be, and how we can use that transformative energy from grief to be that next version. I feel it. I'm unstoppable. I am amazing because of him. And I rely on that, and I see that, and I will not change that for anything. Because yes, grief is difficult, and there's a transformation that's beautiful, that's always there for us when we allow ourselves to see it. To summarize the key points that we have shared: accepting support. Do not judge yourself when you need support, when you need someone to listen, when you need a shoulder to cry on, when you just need something. Maybe it's food, maybe it's your house being clean. Accept that support. Accept support. Lesson 2, discover your inner resilience. There is a version of you that is being birthed in this time of grief. Welcome it in and watch your life change. Lesson 3, there is no wrong or right way to grieve. Grief is a process. It's lifelong and it's individual. There is no wrong way to do it. Do not feel bad if you feel good. Do not feel bad if you feel bad. It is unexplainable, and it is an individual journey. Hold space for it and learn from it, because there's something for you in this experience from grief. Lesson 4, finding and using your tools to heal. For myself, journaling, cold plunging, nutrition, movement every day, and daily showers are my tools. Find yours, use mine. Comment in the comments below other ways that you have found ways to grieve, other tools that have helped with your grief, or if the tools that I have suggested have helped your grief. And finally, lesson 5, embracing change and growth. Grief is several folds. You're grieving the person and you're grieving the loss of your former self. You have now grown into a new space. Take it on with pride. Allow that discomfort to birth you into something new. I am so grateful for all of my subscribers and my TikTok followers who have sent me messages. I am so grateful. I am so grateful for everyone who's reached out, and I will continue to share. As a speaker, I speak truth through my life, and this is what I have found to be helpful for me. I invite all of my followers and anyone who has found this helpful to express how grief has changed you, how grief has been a catalyst for change within yourself, how you learn to find tools and what tools you use during your time in grief. And finally, if you have found this helpful, like, share, subscribe to Hope is Speaking. Follow me on TikTok, Hope is Speaking TikTok. This is what I talk about. I'm a professional speaker and I speak about the life lessons I learn in real time. I am grateful for my ability to speak, for my courage to speak, and for the courage of others to connect. Continue to connect. Let me know how this helped you, and let's continue to grow together because my hopefuls are my family. I will always share the good word, and this is Hope is Speaking.